Lakini ndugu walimu, mimi nawakaribisha. Asanteni sana kwa kubali mwito wangu, munitembelee.
I want to say, kumi bila break. Kumi bila break.
Chaos unfolded at Statehouse over the weekend when hundreds of teachers mobilized to attend a major event hosted by President William Ruto ended up stranded and sleeping in tents outside the compound after payment they were promised failed to materialize. The event, which had been branded as a grand show of support for President William Ruto's 2027 re-election bid, was meant to showcase the president's influence over the teaching fraternity. More than 10,000 teachers were ferried from across the country in school buses, arriving in Nairobi under the belief that they would not only participate in the high-profile gathering, but also return home with allowances in their pockets. Instead, the night ended in humiliation for both the government and the teachers.
Walimu hamjambo. Walimu hoye. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Huyu naibu wangu mnamuonaje? Ni noma si noma?
Images circulated online showing exhausted men and women curled up on benches and makeshift beddings around Statehouse. Some had removed their shoes and slept on bare ground. Others huddled in groups under tents, stranded after the financial pledges made to them never came through. This embarrassing spectacle has sparked outrage, raising questions about the ethics of mobilizing workers for political gain and then abandoning them in the heart of the government. For Ruto, it is a public relations nightmare that adds to a growing list of missteps involving groups that leave Statehouse not with pride but with anger and bitterness.
Congratulations for signing a CBA with the Teachers Service Commission. I know there are many people who are not happy because there was no demonstration. You know? Wengi wanashangaa ati CBA imekuwa signed. How? Mbona sufuria haijapelekwa kwa barabara? Mbona hakuna maandamano? Mbona you know? But
the meeting itself had been choreographed as a bold display of loyalty. Teachers were paraded as a unified bloc, ready to rally behind the president's second term. Memorandums of understanding were signed, promising better working conditions, improved morale, and new job opportunities for unemployed graduates. Supporters of the regime hailed it as a turning point in the relationship between the government and the education sector. But behind the scene, the cracks were already showing.
I listened to His Excellency. And I want to be very frank. As teachers, when we went to college, one thing stood by us. No one taught like this man. And I must say here and now, without mincing an outer of word, Your Excellency, you're a perfect teacher. Hands-on.
Teachers who had been promised facilitation after the meeting waited for hours, only to be told that the funds had not been released. As the sun set and darkness covered the capital, buses that had transported them were nowhere to be seen. With no food, no allowances, and no transport back home, the crowd had no choice but to pitch camp outside Statehouse. For many Kenyans watching from afar, this incident is more than a logistical error. It is a symbol of the wider frustrations facing citizens under an administration accused of overpromising and under-delivering. The image of teachers, a respected profession tasked with shaping the future of the nation, lying on the ground in the cold after being used for political theater, is one that cuts deep.
And I want to tell the teachers of Kenya that whatever it is that has been signed as a collective bargaining agreement, we will honor our part as government.
This is not the first time Statehouse has faced such embarrassment. Only days earlier, a large delegation from MERU had also been left stranded in Nairobi after their visit to Ruto's residence. They too were promised allowances that never arrived, leaving them to fend for themselves in the city. Repetition of such incidents has fueled growing skepticism about the president's political machinery and its ability to manage mass mobilization.
Ile kazi mulinipatia kama kiongozi wa taifa letu la Kenya is a responsibility I take very seriously. Na ndio sababu I have a report card.
Critics argue that the administration has fallen into the trap of turning Statehouse into a campaign ground rather than a seat of governance, instead of focusing on solving the real economic hardship facing teachers and other workers. Energy is being spent on organizing flashy events that achieve little beyond momentary headlines. When the curtains fall, the very people used to fill seats and clap for cameras are abandoned to deal with the consequences.
If you want to succeed, you put people around you who are more intelligent than you. Saa ile wanakusaidia kushine, you take the credit, wao ndio wanafanya job. Sindio?
The teachers' ordeal also exposes the ugly underbelly of Kenya's political culture, where groups are often ferried to rallies and events with the lure of handouts. It is a transactional relationship that undermines genuine political support and reduces citizens to pawns in power games. By failing to honor even the transactional end of the bargain, the government risks losing credibility, not just with teachers, but with other professional groups watching closely.
Education is going to be central to the transformation of Kenya. We need more intellectuals. We need more people with ideas. We need more knowledge if we were to move Kenya from where it is to where we want it to be. So we will spare no effort in doing this.
The embarrassment has already sparked heated conversations on social media, where many are questioning how the government can afford to host large gatherings yet fail to meet basic commitments to its guests. Others are drawing comparisons with the struggles ordinary Kenyans face daily, from unpaid salaries to delayed bursaries and rising costs of living. For teachers, the incident is likely to leave lasting bitterness. Instead of walking away from Statehouse feeling recognized and valued, they left humiliated, stranded and angry. Some have vowed to continue camping outside until their allowances are paid, a move that risks escalating into a full-blown standoff if not addressed quickly. For Ruto, the fiasco lands at a delicate political moment, with murmurs of discontent already growing under the country over taxes, unemployment and the high cost of living. The last thing he needs is to alienate teachers, a group that forms one of the largest organized workforces in Kenya. Their anger could easily spill into classrooms, staff rooms and public forums, undermining the political gains the event was meant to secure.
Nilikuwa na mwingine alikuwa analalamika hajasoma. Nikaona ataniangusha. Lakini ndugu walimu, mimi
The Statehouse drama is a reminder that optics and promises are not enough. Kenyans are watching closely, and the images of stranded teachers will not be forgotten anytime soon. It is a warning shot of a government that seems increasingly comfortable with grand shows but careless about governance.
You know, wengi wanashangaa ati CBA imekuwa signed. How? Mbona sufuria haijapelekwa kwa barabara? Mbona hakuna maandamano? Mbona you know? But is there...
In politics, perception is everything, and for now, the picture of teachers sleeping outside Statehouse paints a government that uses, discards and embarrasses its own people.
As a Secretary General on behalf of teachers, members of Kenya National Union of Teachers, I want to say, kumi bila break. Kumi bila break. Broad-based government is the way to go.